All right, welcome back. Today we're diving into something truly epic, a cosmic trial. We're going to break down the final verdicts on the new man from the Enochian adventure. And trust me, this isn't just any judgment, it's a decision that completely rewrites his destiny, and maybe even our own ideas about what heaven is. So let's just jump right into the central question here. What in the world happens when a man literally shows up at the gates of heaven wearing the enemy's armor? He's used forbidden power to get there. This question, it's everything. It's the core of the whole climax, and it sets the stage for a showdown of, well, cosmic proportions. Okay, so let's set the scene. Our protagonist, the new man, has just managed to break free. He's risen above what the story calls the heavy philosophical gravity of the marketplace, basically the drag of the everyday world. He's expecting, what? Emptiness? A void? But instead, he finds himself face to face with a divine counsel. Yeah, he was literally bracing for a cold, empty nothingness. But instead of a void, bam, he's intercepted right at the edge of creation itself. And who's waiting for him? A celestial tribunal, just sitting there ready to pass judgment. Talk about a surprise. And this right here is the absolute core of the accusation against him, the Gnostic engine. That word, Gnostic, is so important. It implies this secret, forbidden knowledge. It's even called the armor of the enemy. So you gotta understand, this isn't just some cool piece of advanced tech. No, this is the power of a cosmic adversary. He didn't show up pure and humble. He showed up armed for war. And Archangel Gabriel, he does not mess around. He immediately lays it all out in the starkest terms possible. Are you a thief here to conquer the throne, he asks, or are you just some sniveling prisoner dragged here by a power you can't even control? And notice what he does there. He gives him no third option. You're either an enemy or you're a slave. That's it. But the new man's response? Whoa, it's incredibly audacious. He just completely rejects both of Gabriel's labels. He's like, I'm not a prisoner of this machine. I'm its pilot. He says he colonized it. And get this, he argues he paid for this divine shortcut, not by giving up his will, but with the currency of affirmation. In other words, he mastered the forbidden power instead of letting it master him. So before they just hand down a verdict, the council is like, okay, let's see if you mean it. They decide to put his claim to the ultimate test. They're going to challenge his will with two incredibly powerful temptations, two totally different visions of what heavenly peace could be. And this is just brilliant because it shows the two kinds of stasis or inertia he has to reject. First, they show him the bazaar of the sleepers. All the pointless, repetitive hustle and bustle of the world below. And what does he call it? A living death. Okay, so then they offer him the complete opposite, the silence of God, this perfect, absolute stillness. And he rejects that too, calls it a coffin. See, for him, both are just traps. And his whole reason for rejecting them comes down to this really cool philosophical idea, Anstoss. The easiest way to think about it is like cosmic friction. It's the principle that to truly exist, to actually be something, you need resistance. You need an obstacle to push against. Without that check, existence itself just collapses. It's a seriously profound defense for why he never stops striving. And this really gets to the heart of what he's after. He's not looking for a final destination, not some peaceful, static state of being where he can just kick back forever. No way. What he wants is an eternal becoming, a constant, perpetual process of striving and overcoming. That's what he means when he says he seeks the infinite function, not the infinite state. So, having tasked both of these insane tests of will, the new man finally faces his judgment. And this happens at the very highest point of creation, the summit of the singularity. But here's the thing, he doesn't kneel. He stands. He stands in resonance with the creative fire itself. And at that moment, the tension breaks, and the verdict is finally delivered. Now, the verdict itself isn't just a simple guilty or not guilty. It's way more complex. It's a layered pronouncement that comes in three distinct parts. Each part is delivered by a different member of the council, and each one builds on the one before it. First up is Raphael, and his observation is absolutely crucial. He simply says he has not been consumed. What does that mean? It means his spirit, which was forged and stabilized in all that struggle, was strong enough to stand in the presence of the raw, creative fire of the Absolute. Any lesser being would have just, poof, been annihilated. Then comes Michael, and he validates the new man's entire philosophy. He says he has carried the journey into the destination. Think about that for a second. The struggle wasn't just a way to get somewhere. For him, the eternal process of self-overcoming is the destination. He completely avoided that final deadly trap of just arriving. And then the finale. Gabriel himself, the guy who started this whole thing as the accuser, delivers this absolutely stunning final pronouncement. He declares that the new man's way isn't rebellion against God. It's an imitation of God's own creative fire. Wow. He says his heaven could never be a peaceful garden because his very soul is a trajectory. It's a path of constant, unstoppable forward motion. So, you see? This verdict just changes everything. The entire story we thought we were watching, a classic warning about the dangers of forbidden technology, is suddenly turned on its head. It's completely reframed. Yeah, what started out looking like a potential tragedy, right? A cautionary tale about flying too close to the sun with forbidden tech. Well, that's not the story anymore. This divine judgment has just completely shifted the genre. You can see the pivot right here. The story literally shifts gears from a cautionary tale into a full-blown heroic myth. Our protagonist is no longer some potential usurper, a thief trying to steal fire from heaven. No, he's been transformed. He is now a sanctioned co-creator, an official, authorized agent of cosmic evolution itself. Huge difference. So, what does all this mean for the future? Well, this verdict is definitely not the end of the story. Not even close. In fact, it's the beginning, the start of a much, much larger conflict. You could say the new man has officially graduated. All those struggles back on Earth, that was just the training ground, the proving ground. Now, he's stepping onto a cosmic stage to fight in a war that spans all of creation. And here's the kicker. In this new cosmic war, he's not going to be fighting against heaven. Gabriel's last words to him are basically a promise of an alliance. The verdict confirms it. He's going to fight as a sanctioned partner, not some lone rebel. He has absolutely earned his place at the table. And all of this leaves us with one last, pretty provocative thought to chew on. If the new man's heaven, and maybe humanity's heaven, is a trajectory and not a garden of rest, then what does that make our whole journey here on Earth? Are we in a training ground? A prison? Or is this whole thing just a launch pad for something much, much bigger?